Welcome everyone to episode 28 of the draft. Tonight we will be drafting our drivers for the Southern 500 at Darlington, the first race of the playoffs. I am very excited about it. I'm joined as always by Tino Patino, Phil Eastman. Gentlemen, we are coming off a Daytona cutoff race. Ryan Blaney won. We didn't see any new winners, but we were pretty close. Funny story about that, Phil, is that you brought the Bonanza wine up here when you guys came up from Richmond. So I said, you know what? Maybe that's a little sign. I wanted to throw a long shot out there. The Custer 80-1 almost comes to it with Bonanza wine on his car. I was like, man, that was close. But that to me, that's what Daytona's all about. You make those fun bets, throw the long shots out, and see what happens. I thought that was cool. Phil, how'd you enjoy the race? How'd you do?
Yeah, I was also cheering for the Bonanza car. Didn't bet him before the race, but like stage 3, he was still sitting there live 50-1. So I was like, I need in on this action. He seems frisky. And I was on my feet, like honestly, by myself in the basement, like cheering for Custer. For the bet, but like for the paint scheme, like I just wanted that die cask. And disappointed it didn't come home, but I thought it was an entertaining race. Like it was kind of, what you wanted. You had a big one, wiped out some heavy hitters. You had a little bit of a strategy play with Blaney. You saw an exciting ending, guys, fighting for a must win spot. It was, it was a good Saturday night race at Daytona. Weather prevailed. So things went according to plan. And yeah, looking forward to the playoffs.
Yeah, it was cool that the way the cautions came out, stage two was kind of a snoozer with a lot of fuel saving. But the way the cautions came out in stage three, we got a lot of that stage where people were actually racing. And that was fun. A lot of the field was wiped out at that point, like toward the end. It was kind of like Atlanta. You wipe out half the field and then you see the comers and goers and the runs form and all that cool stuff. Thought it was great. Tino, you get another victory here at Daytona, pulling up to 10 wins on the season. I mean, you called it. Now, Phil tried to go with that leverage play of Blaney, and it worked a little bit. He almost got there, but you were on Blaney from the jump. So congratulations. I know you had talked about Blaney on your shows as well. So good week. How'd you enjoy the race?
Oh yeah, awesome race. I thought and like you said, to harp on the points of the less fuel saving. And Ryan, I also know one thing you've mentioned before, so I want to credit you for this, is when the field is cut in half at times, when there's more space for cars to move around, and when they're able to build the runs like old Daytona and old Talladega and old super speedway racing. That's what I love to see. So to see that happening and unfolding, and I want to address. I mean, I was hyped when Ryan Blaney won, of course, but I want to put it out there. I know he was a favorite. That's not, I'm not taking any credit for that. But to see the way in which he was able to win from 13th to first in 2 laps. And to me, it was the strategy that he was able to use throughout the race in terms of he's a guy that dominates. He's a guy that can go out and lead all the laps. But in doing so, he's been involved in wrecks in the past. So to see him sort of not use that same sort of strategy this time around and be there at the end, and it wasn't just Blaney as well. Eric Jones was an underdog guy called out here and a couple other shows as well. That was cool to see those drivers prevail. Obviously, anything can happen at Daytona, but it was very exciting for me to watch. Some of my picks do well. And yeah, shout out the chat. Sean McBride in here saying, he hasn't heard Tino say a word yet. It's been kind of nice. Well, the break is over. They're letting me loose now. And then this was a funny one. Ryan, maybe you can answer this one. Cam Law in the chat saying, does he buy Jersey Mike's tonight to eat? I don't
Oh,
know.
Oh boy.
yeah, so for those that don't know, I'm in a little rough shape right now. I had a nice Italian Mike's Way, and I swear that thing was poisoned. I am hurting right now. But we flu gaming around here. We don't take nights off unless we have some family engagements going on. So here we are, and we're ready to rock and roll. So I should have pulled that picture that you just met at the end of the race. They had the 7 cars right there at the end. It was 7 different teams.
Mhm.
That's what's crazy about it. 7 different teams lined up at the line, crossing the finish line at Daytona. That was wild. But cool race. Tino, you win as always. The draft is for a good cause, so we will be donating to No Kids Hungry is the donation that you chose this week. That's awesome. Trying to do 36 different charities this year and hit them all. So that's going to be great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, we will move on to, like I said, I'm going to tough through this, but we're going to move on and just kind of keep it rolling. So we'll do the race preview here for Darlington. First race of the playoffs. Everybody's excited about it. Completely different style race than Daytona. Phil, why don't you kick it off and tell everyone what they can expect here at Darlington?
Sure thing. They come here twice a year now, and this is the big one. It's the Southern 500 Crown Jewel race, night race, Labor Day weekend, Sunday night, 6 p.m. Like it's checking a lot of boxes in my world. I can tell you that for free. But mile 0.36 or 1.36 miles oval asphalt track. They're going to go 367 laps. Stage breaks are going to be 115 for stage 1, 115 for stage 2, and 137 in stage 3. So pretty similar stages throughout for those who like that. Track stats, they've been here 100 and I think 56 times or 28 times. I'm missing my number here, but the winner has started on the pole 21 times. Joey Logano was the last one to do it in 2022. But this is where it gets interesting. Starting inside the top 5, the winner's been there 61% of the time, and starting in the top 10, 85% of the time. That is much higher than we see on a week-to-week basis. That means qualifying is super important this week. And the winner has started outside of the top 20 6 times in the history of this racetrack. That's out of 128 races. And the last time that happened was, anybody know?
Regan Smith is my
Regan
guess.
Smith. Yes.
I'm locked in. Let's go.
Tino starting off on fire. So yeah, I mean, you're going to need to show up in practice and qualifying this week if you're going to have a shot. It's a long race. It's battle of attrition, as they say, but putting yourself up front, you're going to log laps. They're going to go single file, and you just got to, avoid that stuff. So I wanted just to mention there are one small change to the tires. So they're going to use the same right side tires as the spring base here. The left side tires is going to be a tire they ran at Charlotte, Michigan, and Indy. I don't think that changes like how I'm kind of handicapping the race too much, but I think it's worth mentioning that because people are into the tires. And if you're expecting a fun race or not, looking at the next gen races, they've been there 3 times in the Southern 500. It's been 83% or higher on the Jeff Gluck Was It a Good Race poll, which is very good. Including 2022 was the best race of the year on that poll. So I think it's worth getting excited about for all of those reasons I just mentioned, the night race and everything, holiday weekend. But the history says that, we can expect it to be a good one. So looking forward to it and looking forward to drafting with you boys tonight.
Yeah, playoff implications on the line. I mean, starting out the playoffs, it's going to be a fun race. We have tire wear. Tire wear is something that we always want to see. I think that's why they switched it up too, and they're trying to bring this other tire here now to increase the tire wear. So it's not just, I mean, I guess we could see one guy out in clean air lead a ton of this race, but hopefully we get long green flag runs and we do see some comers and goers. That'll make this race awesome. One thing I did pull up because you said, qualifying super important. So this is the 2023 races, 24, 25. So 5 race sample here, but you can tell all the fast laps and laps led and, everything kind of coming from the top there. So you want to qualify within the top 10. Those are all the fastest guys. Those are the guys running the fast laps, leading laps, doing everything. And that correlates with exactly what you said. That's where the winners are coming from. You're going to show up fast here. And, the twist is you got to be fast on those long runs as well. So those are the guys that we're going to be, targeting, or at least, I hope we are when we talk about our picks here throughout the show. All right. If you're new to the show, what we're going to do is we're going to do one pick each from each team you see listed on the left there. A big 3 pick is another pick from Hendricks, Joe Gibbs, Penske. Best of the rest is any team that's not listed, and wild card can be any driver from any team you haven't selected already. We'll use real NASCAR scoring, their point system to score it. The winner will pick a charity and win the race will donate to it. All 36 races this season. So, Tino, I know Sean's missed your voice here. You haven't talked in a while. So we're going to let you lead this one off. 23-11, first race of the playoffs, Darlington Raceway, the lady in black. Who do you got?
Yes, sir. Well, 2311. I think the biggest key about them is the fact that one of their drivers still hasn't won at all this season. And that guy is Tyler Reddick, or sorry, just completely forgetting about Riley Herbst. One of their drivers being Tyler Reddick, who's in the playoffs, who hasn't won. He's my pick because I believe he goes out and wins this race this weekend. From a storyline perspective, that's something that we've seen before. I believe it was Denny Hamlin. I could be wrong there, but I think it was a few years back where he hadn't won all year. First race of the playoff, he goes out and he wins it. So I can see the same thing happening here for Tyler Reddick, not only because of that storyline, but because he's one of the best drivers at this track. 33% finishes inside the top 5. Ryan and Win the Race put out this great stat today, or chart rather, where it was active NASCAR Cup drivers who have raced at least 10 times at Darlington in their career. That's something I'm focusing heavy on, as always, in terms of the Win the Race data and research and prep for my picks this weekend. And yeah, I feel really good about Tyler Reddick in this one. The fact that he was there at the end, I know there's a lot of differences between this Darlington race and the spring race, but still, I feel like if you show up there with a top 10 car speed-wise, that bodes well heading into the night race here this weekend. I would say another factors that come into my mind in terms of what makes them different: strategy calls, crew chiefs on top of the box. Can your pit crew withstand the full Southern 500 that it is? So with that being the case, I believe Tyler Reddick will have the speed himself to put himself in position for the win. If all those other things go right, he's going to need it to happen. I think there's a few other drivers I have out there that I would rank above him in this one, but he's the pick for sure.
Yeah, I think, anytime we get to an oval where the lanes can change and you can get someone who likes to go up and kind of rip the top of the track, that's a Reddick type of track. That's these stripes you see here on the wall there. I mean, there's gonna come a time in the race where you're gonna be up there hugging that wall and just kissing it a little bit as you go around, and you'll have some speed that other drivers can't get to. So I love Reddick on tracks like this. He's my pick here too. I'll pull the board back up and type it in, but I bet Tyler Reddick when it opened 9-1. Probably because I hate money, because he only has, in the 12 races in this package, he only has 3 top tens. I mean, the dude just can't seem to get a finish, put it together. But the speed is there. If we're following the speed and we're following what he's done at this track type, he's one of the guys. No track is exactly like Darlington, but if you look at the true performance scores and Win the Race, 4th at Charlotte, 3rd at Darlington, 6th at Homestead, 4th at Vegas. The guy's just up there with speed on this track type. So I don't know. I'm hoping he doesn't bite us again, but I got to follow the numbers. And when we simulate this out, 9-1 had good value on it. So give me Reddick here. Phil, we're jumping to you.
I'm also going Reddick. It's just a combination of very good finishes here at this track. And on top of that, just very good speed every time we come here. You mentioned the speed earlier this season. I mean, he finished 4th in the springtime, but he's got 4 top 5 finishes at this racetrack in the next gen car, 5 top 10s. I like the pick to win. I think he's 8-1 now. I'm interested in that as well. Talk about that a little bit on my pod. But if you're going head to head against Bubba Wallace, Bubba's strong. Like he's not a slouch at this track. It's just Reddick, his numbers jump off the page. So I can't take a risk here and go Wallace. I have to go Reddick.
Yeah. What's tough with this team is I guess we've had a little conversation about it in Discord and stuff, is just will the off track stuff affect their performance? Not knowing their team's future and things like that. But I kind of think you're in the playoffs now. Say your team is going to be no more. What better way to go out than winning a championship? Denny never has. Obviously he's with JGR, but he's going to be fully focused on this. And if he can't get it done, he's going to want his 2 drivers. 2 of the 3 made it. Again, we don't really talk about Riley Herbst in here, but 2 of his 3 drivers are in there. He's going to want them to make a freaking run here. So I don't know. Part of me just thinks heads down, fully focused. Let's just finish this thing out strong, and we can't, we'll just take what we can control and work on that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's head into a team that is not in the playoffs, Front Row Motorsports, which I realized when we did our season-long standings, I have an update too. Maybe we'll post that here next week. I drafted all 3 Front Row guys. What a terrible season-long draft decision by myself there too. I should have diversified that a little bit because they are killing me. But I'll go first here because there's not much to say about these dudes. I'm going to go with Zane Smith. I know some in Win the Race took Zane Smith's top 10. I think on FanDuel he was 11-1. We have value on that in the simulations. I would take it even down to like 9-1. If you still could get that somewhere. But not a bad run here in the spring. It was his first with FRM. Started 16th, finished 12th. Grabbed some stage points in stage 1. They're not bad here as a team either. Like even Todd Gilliland has 5 top 20s here in his 7 races. They're just a pretty solid team. Gregson was solid in his run. And he's one of the better finishers, of this team on this track type. 11th at Homestead, 12th at Darlington, like I just mentioned. And then on the fringier ones, like 7th at Michigan, you mentioned that with the tire. Again, I don't look at Michigan like Darlington, but it's just worth noting because the tire, and he did get, a top 10 there. 16th at Texas, just another oval, but that's kind of all we're looking for this range. Like if this dude can finish top 18 or something and get some points, that's kind of all we're looking for our purposes on this show. So give me Zane Smith here. Phil, I want to jump right back to you. Who do you got?
Yeah, I think I was the one that posted the Zane Smith top 10 earlier this morning in the Win the Race Discord.
Oh yeah, you were. Yeah. Credit where it's due. Sorry, yes, that was your bet.
Yeah, no, it's and someone else said it was available 12-1 on FanDuel. So shout out to who posted that. But looking at this, so he stood out to me because of the value difference and where Win the Race had it fair and what he was going off at. So I automatically migrated to Zane and I threw a tiny little bit on him for a top 10 for fun. But you're right. Like looking around at the rest of these guys, they're pretty good. I'm going with Zane just because, I see his progression at this racetrack going the right way. 3 races here, 35th, 23rd, 12th, just getting better each time. And like you said, as a team, an umbrella situation, they have had the ability to run well here. And looking at Zane, I'm looking at the high tire wear tracks, Homestead and Darlington are what I was kind of focused on. Unique racetracks apiece. He finished 11th and 12th this year, apples to apples, 2025. This season. So that's encouraging for a top 10, but it's also encouraging in this group to me. So we're going to go with Zane Smith.
Yeah, for sure. I saw some other lines out there too. Like, we'll see who Tino picks. I want Tino to pick here first, see who he goes with, and then I'll mention the other one. Tino, who do you got here for FRM?
So Big Ross said it best in the chat here. I felt like in describing Gregson to make contact with the wall, -3,000. And when I was filling out, I was writing out my bracket, my draft board before the show, just doing some extra prep there, getting locked in. And I had typed in Zane Smith. And I said, you know what? Backspace. Noah Gregson's going to be the pick this weekend. Not only because I feel like he's due for one, and every time I feel that way, maybe I get a little lucky with these FRM guys. But my point is he's been strong here in the past. In terms of the Xfinity series, we know he's a guy that can rip the fence. Now, he has not shown anything to do that same, skill set in the Cup Series. It just hasn't been there. I feel like maybe now he can have a good chance to prevail. And with Zane Smith finishing 12th, and even I could have went Todd Gilliland, who finished 14th here in the spring. Those both could have been better picks, but I like the pivot here from the 2 Zane Smiths that you guys have yourself. And I'm just sort of hoping that Gregson could just pull one out, just have a strong day, and maybe get lucky with, some tire at the end and finishing strong by ripping the fence in this one.
Yeah, he was the other one. He was 9-1, and that was the other one I would have taken had I could have on the books that offered it.
Let me just say this, okay? Because we're celebrating Tino's win. He picked a nice charity, flowers. Last week, I think Ryan took Zane. Tino took Todd Gilliland, and against my better judgment, I was like, you know what? It's Daytona. Anything can happen. Let me do this. Who did I land on? Noah Gragson. I need postseason analysis on win percentage. When someone was selected onto a roster, did they win? Because I don't know if Noah has won yet. And that pick, that fun front row pick, literally cost me the match.
Yeah.
Gilliland had 30 points. Gregson had 1. I lost by 15. So just be careful, Tino. Be careful with Noah
Yeah.
because I'm telling you, it's a slippery slope with that dude.
I like that.
Yeah.
We definitely we will, I think, in some form or another, a postseason draft analysis of guys like him. Maybe whenever we have, Chase Briscoe on our teams, or Kyle Larson or something like that, or even some crazier drivers as well with the best of the rest wild cards and
Well, I
everything like
know,
that. Yeah.
I know, like the first half of the year, every time I took Keselowski, he was
Mm-hmm.
dead. So, I mean, he had the worst luck ever, but maybe that was my fault.
Team 54, shout out Team 54. Great to see you here tonight. And he said Gregson is the Grim Reaper of the draft. So
Yeah.
that's true.
It is very true. All right, let's move on to HMS. We got a team here where, we can see the winner come out of this group. So very interesting here. Phil, I'm going to let you lead this one off.
Alrighty. So I'm going to kind of do a similar strategy as I did in the spring. And I'm going with William Byron. I know that Larson's out there. He's a monster. He's the favorite. Going with Willie B here. Looking at the last 7 races, the next gen car at Darlington, he's first in average finish, 9.1. He's got a win, 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s. He's first in driver rating. Just like everywhere you look, he's a freak. If you look, one of the metrics that I was looking at was since the start of 2024, Homestead Darlington. It's 5 races. He's second in driver rating, 108.0. He is a driver who this season, on those 2 racetracks, good starting positions. What did we talk about earlier? He won the pole at Darlington earlier. That's huge. Finished second at Homestead, started 5th, ends up 12th, but I think something went wrong there with a tire situation. So he is without a doubt a guy you can trust, a guy who is just more of a steady Eddie than some of the other guys in that camp. So that's why I'm going with Willie B here to hopefully be that steady Eddie, qualify well, and put himself in a position to potentially win this race. Like I could easily see Byron winning this race.
Yeah. When we simulated this out, he is our favorite on Win the Race. He'll be my pick here. Want to hear a crazy stat? I mentioned this talking to Eric Estep earlier today, but in all Gen 7 races, 7 races here, he's only missed earning stage points in one of those stages. And it was in the fall 2023 race. And that was the only race he didn't start top 10. So he missed points in stage 1. He still finished 5th in stage 2 and 4th in the race. So I mean, you talk about the steady Eddie. This guy's insane here. He doesn't leave the top 10. The one time he did, he just raced his way up to a 4th place finish. So like, dude's pretty insane here. Give me William Byron. This was my favorite Hendrick guy. I knew it kind of coming in once we simulated it out and I had it scored. I was like, it kind of shocked me a little bit. And then I started digging more and more. And you're just like, wow, yeah, he's really good here. So even like, so do you remember Logano's win? Byron was leading that. He started dying, at the end, but then Logano wiped him out and won. So like, he's always up there. So yeah, give me Byron. Tino, who do you got here?
Oh, baby. Well, one thing about William Byron in that spring race was that he led 243 laps. And I was at a little family gathering, as one does on a Sunday when the Darlington race is on. And we had the race popped up on the phone. And I was like, hey, guys, come check it out. My pick for this weekend. He's leading all the laps. He's the guy I bet on. Everyone's like, man, you're really good. He hasn't missed a beat. Oh, he's first in stage 1, first in stage 2. And then I believe it was Kyle Larson who spun out to create the caution to send them to overtime to give Denny Hamlin the ultimate victory. And this was all, and funny enough, I will say this as well. There was some stuff that happened in between that where Ryan Blaney was able to take the lead, and that was over Tyler Reddick, and I was okay with that because although I had more units on Byron, I also had Blaney. Well, my point is, I'm not making the same mistake again, at least not right now, because when we look at a guy and Kyle Larson, his last 3 Darlington spring race finishes, 37th, 34th, and 20th. But when the nighttime is nice, cool, calm, dark out, lights are on, playoff stage, 4th, 1st, and 12th. That's why Kyle Larson's my pick. This is the race that he wins. He's not good in the spring here, and he showed that. And I was a guy that was rooting for Byron the whole time, and he was the best, fastest car there for sure. But everyone's going to be talking about Byron. Larson's going to be the guy that kind of gets overlooked, and rightfully so, because he hasn't been fast recently. But I think those 47% of the times that he's finished inside the top 5 here in 15 races is what sort of swung me over the edge here for the 5 car.
Yeah, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I mean, because you mentioned it, he is my big 3 pick all day because of what you just said. I mean, I had all that literally written down, talked about it with Eric earlier today, is that the spring race for Kyle Larson is different than when you get to the summertime or the fall or whatever you want to call it, night race, playoff race, it's go time, or end of the season race, whatever you want to call it. You get to this time of year, it is like he knows it is now go time. Even when he finished 4th, like you mentioned, he was the best car in that race. So it's like he's the man here. And when he finished 12th, that was the first year of Gen 7 too, which for a lot of my stuff, like I don't use a lot of the first year of the Gen 7. So like I like looking at 23, 24, and yeah, I love Larson this week. He was locked into my big 3. I'll put it in now because it doesn't matter what you guys go with there. I'm not going to pivot away from it.
Nice.
So we'll just keep talking about him. So
I
give me
will
Larson
also
there.
say because I want to add to your point. He finished 4th last year, but you also got to factor in that was the last race to get into the playoffs. So I feel like, and that was like the Briscoe, that was the Kyle Busch. I think Chastain was up there too. But my point is there was a lot of chaos at the end that he was still the guy to beat. And I feel like he did get beat, but it was just because of those guys, trying to get in and make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like whether it's we're leading off in the playoffs or we're getting it to cutoff race to the playoffs, it's just this time of year. Like this is clutch Kyle Larson. I think it's go time. He's like everyone thinks he's slumping, which to me is just like adding fuel to the fire. Like now he comes out and shows you I'm back. So all right, let's head into Joe Gibbs. Now you mentioned a graphic that I put up earlier.
Yes.
I will put it up again for everybody now. My pick here is Denny Hamlin, and it's not even close. Denny is unbelievably good here at Darlington. I'll pull up the graphic here. This is every driver, active driver, who's raced at Darlington over 10 times in their career. Denny has a 54% top 5 percentage. With 5 wins, that's more than double anyone with a double-digit race sample size here. I mean, this is like 11 against the world. I think that's what I said when I tweeted this out. I mean, this dude is unbelievable here, especially if we're going to bring a tire that is going to wear. We know Darlington wears tires anyways. I mean, that's why it's like Denny's playground. This is what he does. Give him a tire wear race, watch what he does. And then look at the 2 guys right underneath him that we just mentioned. So, you see the studs come out here. You'll notice Eric Jones up there too. That's a lot from JGR, which is his thing. Oh, he also had good runs with Petty, and I think a win there too. But those are definitely not legacy stats. Maybe we'll talk about him later. But give me Denny Hamlin here. To me, it's not even close. He is the best driver at Darlington by a long shot. So I will go with Denny, and we'll kick it right back to Phil. What do you got?
Denny is my pick. I'm not going to play around with that one. I have him for a top 5 on Bet365 for plus 100. I don't think he's going to win the race just because history will tell you it's so hard to win back-to-back at Darlington for whatever reason. The last time it happened was Jimmy Johnson in 2004. So shitload ago.
Well,
but
what do we have? 7 Gen 7 races, 7 different winners?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I was a little scared off of him winning the race, but you have to have him in your camp. You have to have him. Not to persuade you in any way here, Tino, but over to you.
Yeah. Well, he's in my draft for tonight. I'm gonna make him in the same slot here for Joe Gibbs, although there was someone that I also feel very strongly about. Maybe I'll touch on him. Stay tuned. I can't say anything better than you guys have said it, but one thing I will say from our boy, Team 54, first week since July of 2023, he won't be updating on Ty Gibbs this weekend, which means Ty Gibbs will win the Southern 500. Now, with that said, give him a Denny Hamlin, and that championship run begins now. First off, appreciate all the work Team 54 does from that standpoint and updating us on Ty Gibbs. Honestly, and I mean this with respect, I wouldn't know as much about Ty Gibbs if it was not for this man right here. So, so I think that's awesome from a content standpoint. Can't wait until you're back doing, what you love there. And if he's going with Denny Hamlin, I am too, because that's the guy right there. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him win again. The only thing that would surprise me is the fact that Phil said it too. Like, so hard to win back to back here. So we'll see.
All right, cool. Let's head right into Penske. Tino, I'm gonna let you just keep rolling. Who do you have here for Penske?
Well, Sean McBride said to let him know when someone's about to pick logs, because he's gonna be busy for a minute.
What does busy mean? That was weird.
Yeah, why is busy in quotes?
In quotes, that's scary to me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tino.
No. Well, I'm gonna let Sean, if you're still tuned in, if you're not busy anymore and you want to elaborate on that, let us know in the chat.
But why don't you, Sean? Why don't you pull your pants up real quick, and then I'll type in my pick here because I'm going Joey Logano. So there you are, Joey Logano here. This is similar to So this is my gut play too. I bet this at 18-1. I bet his top 10 at -118. I just think that he's going to come correct here. This is like the Larson thing. Like you get to where it's go time, and that's no more messing around. But even if we look at earlier in the year, Penske brought it here. Blaney, top 5 car in the spring. Cindric was a top 10 car in the spring. I had Logano 6th best in my true performance in that race. So, I mean, this team brought it, and now you're talking playoff time, and they're going to want to do everything they can to get at least 2 of these 3 cars into the championship 4. And why not focus on your dudes who win all of the championships in the Gen 7? So Logano, to me, he's just better than Ryan Blaney here. Now, I will say Brian Twining, he's been correct about this. He's like, just throw away all the stuff you have on tracks with Ryan Blaney in the past, because this year he just shows up rocket, fast everywhere. And he did it here. It's not normally a place where I think he'd be a top 10 car, but not necessarily a top 5, even top 3 car. And he was. So, yeah, I like Team Penske a lot this weekend. I think a lot of people are on Chevy and Toyota, and rightfully so. But I just think the playoffs is a different time. Night race, tire wear is another thing we're mentioning. Joey Logano is a great guy, conserving his tires, can find the speed late in a race, also can go with great strategy calls. And that's something that could pay dividends here at the end. So I don't know. Give me Joey Logano here. I'm just really feeling it this week. This is a gut play / he is really good at Darlington anyways. And especially when we get to these summer / fall, whatever you want to call it, Darlington races. So give me Logano. Sean, I hope you enjoyed that. And, I hope your keyboard's not too sticky, I guess. But Phil, go ahead and let us know who you got here for Penske.
I'm also going Joey Logano for all those reasons. I think you said that perfectly. So taking all the words out of my mouth, he's very consistent, very trustworthy, gets very good finishes. Penske, while fast as a whole, struggles to get, finishes at this track. So Logano has more of them. And I guess that's what I'll add.
Yeah, I don't know why I think he can win, but I just had this like weird vision in my head of like, I don't know if it's a late caution and he stays out, or I don't know. I just got this weird, when everyone's off him, he comes here and destroys everybody's hearts. But Tino, who do you got here?
Trustworthy, consistent, strategic. All these things are what Ryan Blaney is. And that's why he's my pick this weekend. No logs. We're talking playoffs. And that's where why RB steps up. I know Logano's great. I know he can be great here, but in terms of someone going out and winning this race, it's going to be a back-to-back. I think I genuinely feel excited to see Ryan Blaney go out and potentially have a chance to win this race because of what he was able to do in the spring. Guys. I don't think I understand the Logano love, and I really hate to be dead to my good buddy Sean McBride, but think about it like this. I feel like in the spring, when strategy mattered less, a lot of talk was around aero blocking and dirty air and less tire fall off. But those are all things that we're seeing an improvement on or an increase of for this night race. But if the only driver that was really able to pass cars then on a long run was Ryan Blaney, I mean, I got to love him here because this is where all those things matter just that much more. Now, Joey Logano could be the pick, sure. But if we're talking about long green flag runs, passing cars, it's got to be Ryan Blaney and managing your stuff in a night race with tire fall off. It just screams Blaney to me here.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, I would always for me, I would always pick Logano over Blaney in a tire fall off race. That's just kind of how I think it is.
Uh-oh.
But
Am I gonna have to make
this
another
year,
edit?
no, this year has been different though. Like that's
Okay.
it's the thing Brian was saying. Like Blaney this year to me is different. Now on short tracks, I would agree. Like last year, you get to like Martinsville, saw tire wear. Blaney's passing everyone. Phoenix, he's done it in the past too in long runs. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that's wrong, but Logano, I guess, has done the same thing too. He's there at the end. They kind of win in like different ways. So I don't know. Penske's one that I definitely want to have, my hands in this week. So that's a fun team to talk about.
Before we move on real quick, Lee has just asked the most important question. Does he see a Ryan Blaney shirt?
This is a shirt.
Oh,
it's not the shirt.
Not the shirt,
but it's my JV shirt. But maybe a little spoiler. Maybe we'll talk about it later on.
Okay.
Wow. All right. Big three. Phil, who do you got?
I am taking in the big three. I'm going back to the JGR camp, and I am taking the driver of the number 19 machine, Chase Briscoe. Briscoe has proven he is real deal. We talk about him in this sense every week, it seems like now. If we look at what he did last year, just look at what he did last year, driving what would probably amount to be the equivalent of my kids' Fisher-Price Flintstones fucking car that they, use their legs for. Winning that race, like that should be something that is celebrated way more.
Did you see his interview today that was released where they asked him the differences between he was on, I don't know if he was on with Dale Jr.
Is this going to support my argument?
Yeah, it supports it. It's because he's just saying the differences between driving this car and that car. And he's like, I remember talking to Chris Bell, and Bell was like, yeah, man, it's going to be like the same thing, just faster. And then he gets in, he's like, this isn't anything like that at all. Like this one has grip. This one handles. He's like, I can be on tires 30 or 40 laps more dead than I was with SHR, and I'm going full throttle, just like all out, and can still handle and turn. So he's just like, his mind, I think, was just totally blown when he got here, and it was like affecting his performances. But now, like this dude, I'll send it to you after the show. He just sounds so comfortable in the car.
He's got to be giddy, knowing what he can do on this track. Now understanding what he has underneath of him, and his average finish in I guess Stewart-Haas equipment at this track in next gen is like 16.1. That's like doing God's work. I mean, he's got a fifth place finish in there as well, but like even some of the other ones, like a 17th, a 15th, like those aren't too bad. And obviously he gets the victory. Now you whip into this year, and pulling up Loop Edge on Win the Race, you could see he started fourth at Homestead and Darlington. Both races started fourth. That's great, setting yourself up. Where did he finish for Homestead? Fourth. I don't know what happened to him in the spring race. He ends up finishing 28th. That can't be indicative of, how that race car was. So it's just so exciting. Whether you are gambling on Briscoe or not, as a fan of NASCAR, like, you got to be pumped about that storyline. You know what I mean? Defending champion from last year's Southern 500, who had the walk-off moment, and now it's playoff time. He's locked in with a car that he can make a run on. I'm excited. So this is somebody that I'm happy to have on my roster this week.
Yeah, I'm excited too. He's my only future bet for a championship so far, 25-1. So
Me too. I have the same bet.
Yeah. So let's hope he advances here and just keeps on trucking. Definitely rooting for Chase. That'll be fun. Tino, what do you got here for your big 3 pick? You alluded to it earlier. You might be on the same thing here.
Oh, yeah. And I am as excited for it as Phil is. And I'm glad that I have additional points to make us get more hype than we already are. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is Chase Briscoe, all the way Briscoe. First, I'll go to the chat here because the chat's with us as well. Team 54 saying Briscoe is a smart play. The question is, when does C. Bell get things back on track? My answer is next week at WWT. That to me should be an easy one. We'll see. Channy saying Briscoe without a doubt a future champ. I don't know about this year, but we shall see. I agree. I think this year he was in my way too early championship 4. If anyone's asking, I'm going to tell you anyways. It was Blaney, Larson, Briscoe, and Bell. So we'll see if that happens. But so far, so good. Kyle is also locked in for Briscoe for the championship. Now, we went to the chat. Now back to Tino here. 2 things that I like that I don't believe Phil had mentioned is the fact that this Darlington race, with it being so heavy on strategy, who does strategy plays, maybe not the best all the time, but definitely in abundance, it's that crew chief on top of the 19 box. So maybe the strategies go wrong. Maybe they don't hit. But recently, with Briscoe in the car this season, they have been working. With MTJ, they were not working. And for whatever reason, now we're seeing the results. Now, I mentioned MTJ. I love MTJ. Well, something that MTJ did well on was having the raw speed to qualify in the last, I'll go with the last 9 races, 5th, 10th, 31st. We'll throw that one away. 1st, 17th, 4th, 10th, 4th, 6th. My point is, in the last 9 races, only twice outside the top 10. And what did Phil say? 85% of the time, the winner starts inside the top 10. That's what we want here. And wait a second. Chase Briscoe has won like 6 poles this year. Like that wait a second was just straight off the top of my head. So
he mentioned that in the video too. One of the main things he said was, look at qualifying. And that's why, because he can trust the car now. Like he knows the limits. So that's the thing. I love that.
Yeah, so I shouldn't go any further, but I am very excited to see, as Phil mentioned, to see how he does. I just think this is going to be a great tone setter for their playoffs. Even without a win, a strong top 5 out of them. And if we're talking he's 16-1 he opened at 16-1, right now at 13-1. I love that number to bet him outright for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're only going to get. So the other thing too is that all the playoff guys go out last for qualifying. They line up the last 16 guys. So they're all going out late, which is cool. So you should get a better chance of having all these guys kind of starting up front, and you see that playoff battle at the front of the field. It'd be really cool to watch.
I love that. That's a great note. I didn't know that. Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
Nice.
Yeah, they. I mean, at least I'm thinking they do that because that's how the order is. Like they're the last 16 in the they posted the qualifying order. So I mean, it should be like that. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Briscoe, a great pick. Let's head into a Ford camp, and then this one's a little weird because I thought this team really at least deserved to have one car in the playoffs this year. Kind of sucks that none of them made it. Now they can either play spoiler, but I think we could see some testing going on here. Like, and you don't know which car is going to be testing what out. But when you test things out, you could hit, and you could just spank the field. So I don't know. Very interesting. I'll just lead it off here. I got Chris Buescher. I really don't think there's like a wrong answer here with this team. Like we've kind of said that for the last 5 or 6 weeks, I feel like, with RFK. But Give me Chris Buescher. One thing I did like to see, he had top tens in 4 of his last 5 races here. And the only race of that sample size that he missed a top 10, he finished 7th in both stages, and he even led laps in that race. So he was definitely a top 10 car in that race. True performance scores on Win the Race, 4th at Darlington earlier this year, 9th at Homestead. So again, another 2 top 10 true performance scores on the tracks we're looking at, just ovals, high tire wear type tracks. Buescher's rock solid here. Give me Chris Buescher. Phil, jumping back to you.
Yeah, I'm also going Chris Buescher. For a lot of those same reasons. I just think he's more trustworthy. He's a guy who we saw multiple times in his career miss the playoffs and be able to overcome that and win a race even, being knocked out of the playoffs. Brad is a different beast because he's the team owner. Now the whole team's out of the playoffs. Like, I don't know what we're going to get from Brad. It's not the disappointment of missing the playoffs per se, but it's just all of them. Like, he holds a lot of that brunt. He's got a new kid, baby whining in the middle of the night. Like, it's just, I don't know. The human element to the Keselowski pick scares me a little bit. And the fact that, he hasn't been all that trustworthy. I mean, his last 2 races, he 33rd and 14th. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. You highlighted Buescher's success in the last 5 races, and that's why I have him for a top 10 at plus 100 on ESPN bet. So,
just look at this season for consistency. Keselowski's, like we talked about the first half of the year, just dreadful. Just whether it's bad luck or whatever it was, Buescher was the slow and steady guy earning the points all season long. So, kind of a shame he's not in the playoffs. Tino, who do you have here for RFK?
Yep, same for me, Chris Buescher. Team 54 bringing up good points for Brad K. And I will say, if just to bring in another viewpoint into it, Brad's got 2 wins here, 30% of the time inside the top 5, average finish of 12th. So, and that average finish is within the top 5 to 6 drivers here. So he is valid to be one of the guys to look at, but he also has the highest sample size. And I feel like a lot of what he's done at RFK recently, and he did win here with RFK, so I'll say that too. But it's got to be Buescher for me because of the fact that Phil pointed out, one during the playoffs at Bristol, one during the playoffs at Watkins Glen. And it just times in his career where that to me is very impressive. Like it's been happening a little bit more, I feel like, especially at times when stage points matter and guys flip the stage and things like that. But to win in the playoffs when you're not in it is something that I value, and Chris Buescher's done that.
All right, cool. All right, let's head to Spire. Chevy team. Again, nobody in the playoffs here. Phil, who do you got here for Spire?
Oh, the muted. Not a good start.
Sorry.
It's been a while.
I was getting messy. Yeah, I don't know if that's bad or good. This might be my first time picking this guy all year.
Justin Haley, baby.
Oh no! Did you guys? Is he on your radar too? Justin Haley?
No, he's not. I just figured he's first time picking him. No one ever picks him. So.
No one ever picks Justin Haley. Look. It's not because he's fantastic. It's just like I don't trust Hocevar. I actually am going against Hocevar in a head-to-head matchup. And I think it's Ty Gibbs, Team 54. Yeah, Caesars. I have Gibbs minus 120 against Hocevar on Caesars. So fading Hocevar in a head-to-head. I can't feel confident taking him here. 4 races for him. None of them are good. And he's going the wrong direction as he's learning this track. And Justin Haley, he stinks and he's going to be looking for a new ride. But from what we're seeing here, he almost won last week. So if there's any sort of way to cling in to some of that momentum, we're going to go to a track where he's got a 3rd place finish, an 8th place finish, and a 9th place finish in the next gen era. So I don't think it's a different vehicle, I believe, but still you could probably argue that his vehicle now is even better. So going with Justin Haley here, hopefully he can hold on for me, and we'll see. I just don't trust the other guys, and that's why I got to go this route.
Yeah, like we say, there's no wrong answer. There might not be any right answer here either. So, Tino, who do you have here for Spire?
Well, it was Phil's first time picking Justin Haley, and it was going to be mine as well. Still is going to be mine, but I wasn't the first guy to say it. I think that those finishes, so we had a ninth, an eighth, and a third. All those came in the spring. So that's one thing I am aware of. But when we look at Michael McDowell's last three finishes, 29th, 28th, and 10th, I believe Haley's was 27th, 24th, and 9th. So, I mean, from that standpoint, I'm picking Justin Haley. And yeah, everything Phil said, it's hard to bring up alternative points because the driver just hasn't been that fast all year. I think if there was a track to pinpoint him over the other ones, it's this one. And I also do believe him racing for the win at Daytona. I mean, with a season that they have had nothing good to show for it, maybe that's a spark. And maybe he's also fighting for his ride too.
Fighting for his ride, and if you consider this worth a damn, Homestead, he finished 10th. High tire wear track this year. So
there you go.
For whatever that's worth to you, it's not Darlington, but it's a high tire wear track.
I like that.
All right. Well, I'll be the guy. I'll take Carson Hocevar. I mean, I just love losing the draft. I love
I was
losing.
gonna say
I don't want to win this thing. I like that you guys are ahead. I'll just let you comfortably kick my ass. But so
it's the Jersey
Carson Hocevar, I will say, well, yeah, that's the Jersey Mike's talking. I gotta follow the speed here, even though it never works. But Carson Hocevar, on average, 12 races in this package, all different track types. He's running 6 to 7 spots higher than these guys on average. And he's the only one that's popped. Like Haley can finish 10th all he wants. He's not running there. When Hocevar finishes 10th, he's running there or better than that. So I just got to go with that and hope that this guy can find a finish somehow. The last time we saw these guys on a track, even anything remotely like Darlington, I would say would be Charlotte, which is a long time ago. It was also a night race, but top 10 true performance at Charlotte for Carson Hocevar. So I don't know. Give me him, but yeah, if he hits the wall and wrecks out first one to leave the race, I'm also not surprised. So, tough team to pick here. I'll let that lead me right into best of rest. I'll lead off best of rest and we'll kind of loop around since I had the lowest score, so we'll go Tino, then we'll go back to me and get the leverage for the wild card here. So best of rest for me is going to be Ross Chastain. And I talked about this with Eric earlier today too. This is the same theme as my, Kyle Larson that you talked about, Tino, Joey Logano.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's go time. And I just mentioned Charlotte. It's not exactly like Darlington, but it's the last time we've seen guys in anything remotely like this. And he started 40th and won the race. So, I just love to see that. They can bring the speed. SVG's got a little bit of a cushion. It's not much of a cushion because, he can't afford to suck these next 3 races. But if there's one guy you think, one guy you've already seen win at Phoenix and you want to get through to the end of the playoffs, it's got to be Ross, in my opinion. And so if there's any extra love at all to give a team, I think you should go to Chastain here. Back-to-back top 5 finishes in Darlington summer races. Finished they're started in the 20s in those races too. Doesn't even earn stage points, but at the end of the race, this guy is there, and that's what we're looking for. So I just think that's kind of the clutch thing. Like you get to this end of the season, whether it's a cutoff race or it's the beginning of the playoffs, whatever it is, summer, fall, I think he's going to be here at the end of the race somehow. And in the 12 races in this package, he's one of 8 drivers with top 10s in at least half those races. So he is finding a way to get the finishes, whether it's, by hook or by crook, whatever you want to call it, he's there at the end. So give me Ross Chastain. Phil, we'll head to you for best of the rest.
That's who I have, man. I'm thinking about Eric Jones, but I understand the fun aspect of betting on Eric Jones, but when I see you go Chastain was the first name I had written down for all those reasons, man. I mean, he's too good to pass up on. He is literally the best of the rest. You know, you throw those first 3 races, the next gen car out, and he is a monster here. So I'm not messing around with that. The fact that, you know, playoffs are starting, right? He's kind of been silent. And if Trackhouse is going to go on a run, you know, it's what round can SVG make it to? Okay. But if they have any aspirations of winning a championship, it's Chastain. And he's got to put it together. This is a perfect track to start the playoffs for him. So Chastain is without a doubt my best of the rest.
Couldn't agree more, and cool to see you on it as well. Tino, who do you have here for best of the rest?
Okay. So great picks, boys, for sure. But without a doubt, as Phil liked to put it for Chastain, the best paint scheme last weekend was Eric Jones. And the best run from an underdog, in my opinion, was Eric Jones. So that's why what he was able to give me last weekend at Daytona and just make me feel like he had a shot to win that. He was leading that race. If he doesn't get punted by Kyle Larson and surprisingly, impressively enough, doesn't hit the wall and then comes back in 1 lap to finish 5th, that I saw that happening. I saw his track record here at Darlington, as we all know, won here a couple times. I'll give you another one, 10th in 2023 here. Didn't have the same results we wanted with the 24th last year, but legacy was kind of off. If we want to throw things back to earlier this year at Homestead, which we've mentioned a few times in this show, finished 15th. And that's what I'm looking for. Now, Chastain could beat me in this scenario, sure. But if we're talking about points and guys that could potentially get them, it's Eric Jones for me here. And I love what I'm seeing on the graph that Ryan put out win the race as well. We're talking Eric Jones has 15 races here with a 13.5 average finish, perfect, and a 33% top 5 rate as well with 2 wins. And to me, he's a similar style to a Chris Buescher in the playoffs.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, the only argument there is legacy. I mean, that's it. If you're talking about a driver who just gets this track, Eric Jones fits the bill. I mean, that's it. You can't argue those numbers. So could be fun. He's kind of popped a little bit, you know, second half of the year. He's been fast where we haven't expected it some places. So be fun to see what he does here. Tino, we're going to stick right with you though and head into the wild card round. Let's see what you got.
All right. Well, there's been a lot of guys that I had thought about going with. One of which, you know, Kyle Busch was just brought up by Channy. His teammate Austin Dillon was another one who's in the playoffs. I expect him to be a potential guy to sneak in to the second round, but I'm not going with any of those drivers. I'm going with one that really isn't too flashy because he's been picked already, but I don't care. It's the playoffs. It's time for me to lock in. I'm trying to win a championship, and that's why I got to go with William Byron. The amount of laps he led here to cancel it out on your guys' board and to make us really not so different. But wait a second. Wait. Who do I have that you guys? Oh, Ryan Blaney. I got Ryan Blaney. So once again, I'll take a little Blaney action and I'll be a little different from that standpoint. So that's what I'm thinking for my wild card.
I have a strong feeling that Phil and I are on the same guy here, especially after that shit that was just talked right there. I only have one name written down for this. I was going to maybe think about some leverage, but the way this is going, I don't know. Phil, go ahead. Who is your wild card play this week?
I know I'm not the last one here, Ryan, but I got a thing here canned ready to go. So I had Christopher Bell written down, right? And then I thought back and I was like, Darlington, was that my first win? And I went back, I pulled the YouTube up. I probably should have done a Tino and had a clip ready to go, but I 9 races into the year. Okay. 9 races into the year, I still hadn't had a win. And then I had.
Who is it?
Oh.
I spilled Buffalo Trace to start that episode.
Oh,
Somebody
yeah.
in the chat, Chris from Flag Hunting, said you got to do a swig. I was wearing the Blaney shirt for good luck. So tonight I got a Blaney shirt on. I got my Buffalo Trace right here.
Oh, no.
It's
We're
been
done.
a couple weeks. Okay. Not only that, we talk about Blaney. He's been good at places in the past this season where he hasn't necessarily gotten the finishes. And what's encouraging about the Blaney pick is that he's had speed here all the time. So if he was able to figure it out last week at Daytona, I think he can figure it out this week. Then you want to try to talk shit about having, Blaney, you want to try to neutralize us with William Byron. Let me just give you a quick preview here before I do a little swig here. Okay. Because this puts me up against you with 2 head-to-head matchups. Chastain versus Jones. Check, Phil. And Zane Smith versus the Grim Reaper, Noah Gregson. Check, Phil. Okay. Brian Blaney neutralizing Tino, making the pick here. Let's fucking go. Buffalo Trace is back to get Phil in the winner's circle once again this week. Darlington's going to do it again for me. Praise up.
Wow. Big swig. Respect. That was absolutely legendary.
That was nice. I can't believe it. We're already dead before this ends, Tino. All right. I had one name written down all day because I thought it would be the ultimate leverage at the end, and it was Ryan Blaney. So I really got nothing there. I mean, that's kind of what I was going with. The way that the board worked out, it ends up being the ultimate leverage here. I can't be the only one without Ryan Blaney, so I'm glad this is the one I had written down. The way the draft was going, I was like, man, maybe I got to pick Briscoe here at the end instead, but no, I can't be the only one without Blaney. Second best true performance at Darlington early in the year. Best at Homestead. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking for. Dude is fast. Wow.
I
So
was
what
nervous
do
you
we
were going
have
to
here?
go Bell, Ryan. I was nervous you were going to go Bell because Bell not being on the board is a huge miss. He could win the race.
Yeah.
But it makes me happy that no one has Bell, and I don't either.
No one has Elliott. I thought he would be like a slow and steady play, like, top 10 type finish type of guy to get some points for somebody. So your guys 2v2 is Chastain versus Jones and Zane versus Gregson. And then me versus you guys, I have Hocevar, you guys have Haley, and then the same Chastain versus Jones and Zane versus Gregson. And I think that's it. Although you have and then Larson versus Briscoe for you.
Oh yeah, me not having Larson is a that's a risk. That's I'm exposed there.
Yeah.
That's been that's worked
that.
for you this year though.
It has.
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
So, but
right,
we'll
cool.
see.
All right, great draft, fellas. I'm excited for the playoffs to begin. Like I said, all those guys I think can go out there, qualify well. We're going to have a lot of fast cars racing each other up front here at Darlington. And like Phil stated in the preview, you want to show up fast, qualify well, and that's where you're gonna want to be. So, thank you everyone for commenting tonight. Makes the show so much fun. All of our partners here. Let me try to pull this up here. Yeah, Nuke the House, Keg and those guys be live for every race. Iowa, he's always in the Discord. Grid Rival, a lot of fun games on Grid Rival. I really can't wait until I can play in New York because there's so many fun fantasy games that I would play on there. Out of the group, I did the preview again with Eric Estep today. Hopefully, we're doing that for the whole playoffs here. And you can find all his work on Daily Downforce, and then listen to the Angle of Pursuit podcast, betting show, DFS show, 2 shows a week. Brian Twining, Kyle Robert, check those guys out as well. Tino, where can everyone find your good work?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Before I get to that, I gotta highlight the guys in the chat as I normally do. But one I thought was funny was Team 54 here at the end saying, "I really shouldn't talk trash if they have 2 picks left." And that's honestly a great point. I'm normally going on my rant and my speech as like the closer, the last big, the Sandman, and then I just got whooped right there. So that was funny. But one last thing, I know we're going a little over here, but I got to give you guys a championship pick. And funny enough, you're about to see who it is. So here's my speech for you guys and who my championship pick is to before the playoffs start, live on the draft. This is what I'm thinking. So last weekend, everyone kind of wrote him off, right? He was 8-1, 10-1 favorite. He's been in Rex. Totally fair. But I kind of knew he was breaking that streak. And the way in which he ran that race was so strategic, so calculated at times that he's been in chaos before. To me, that talent and the most laps being run in the top 5 at drafting tracks in the next-gen era to pass 9 cars en route to maintaining the lead across 3 to 4 lanes to secure the victory over 4 drivers who needed to win to get in. And they did run very professional, very clean, but to me, it just adds to the clutch performance of it all in the regular season finale. Well, to me, when I'm looking at that in a race that he went from 5th to 2nd in the NASCAR playoff standings because of the win, which is the highest playoff starting position in his career, that's why Ryan Blaney is not only my pick to win the championship, but he is the most improved driver in the series this year. Hey, Ryan Preece is there. Bubba Wallace having a great year. But we'll look at it like this. What Blaney has showcased this year, improvements at a track like Richmond, one of his worst on his whole career in terms of stats and finishes. Improvements on the road courses, in which we know now Ryan Blaney is a road course guy. To see all of that and to know that he's a clutch performer in getting to the championship for each and every year, at least recently, to see him win those clutch moments at Martinsville, to get there to Phoenix, to have a chance when you're already arguably the clutchest in the sport and you're improving on those various racetracks that are in the playoffs and have the potential to capitalize on early speed that he's brought. He could have won 6 of the 10 races to start the season. So for all those reasons and more, that's why I got to go with the momentum at the right time in the right spot. And it's Ryan Blaney for me to win his 2nd championship, be there for the 3rd year in a row. And I want to know, chat, let me know what your guys' picks are. And while I'm calculating, when you guys give you guys a second to type there, I'll go shout everyone out that was here tonight. Team 54, Channy 22, Kyle Robert, Lee Norton. We got Keith in the chat, Sean McBride, Sam Hall, Cam Law was here. Wyatt was here, Big Ross, of course. Appreciate you, Big Ross. And I think Blaney's the guy. I wanted to sort of get ahead of that now after I'm coming off of the Blaney victory last weekend. But what do you guys think?
There's only one team that wins a Gen 7 championship, and that's Team Penske. So you got that going for you too with that pick. So can't argue that. I personally think Denny finally gets it done. I mean, I just look at this playoff schedule, and I think it plays really heavily into Denny's hand. One, I mean, we already talked about how he's the GOAT at Darlington. That's where we're starting out here. I think he's going to start out really strong. Not bad at Gateway. Bristol, another insane strong track for Denny. You go to New Hampshire. We're expecting tire wear like we saw with Richmond. Denny will be great at New Hampshire. Kansas, Denny will be good. You get to the road course. Doesn't matter by that point. I think he's already advancing. Vegas, he'll be good. Talladega will be a fun one because we'll actually see him try on a super speedway. I think he'll have to. So, I think Talladega is going to be a fun one there. And of course, I'll have my Brad Keselowski bet because he wins once at Talladega every 4 years and didn't win earlier this year. Martinsville, he can win. He's the best at Martinsville. So it's I think this schedule is a very Denny friendly schedule. So if they truly aren't affected by these off track issues and their heads are down and they're digging in, let's stick it to NASCAR, win the title if they're going to try and kick us out. And I don't know, man. I really want to see Denny do it. I think the storyline makes it even more fun, but I just think the schedule and just the way he's been racing this year really, really favors him. So that's my pick.
Love it.
I'd say if I'm weighing in, I mean, I like the Blaney pick a lot. I'm looking at it from a odds perspective. Like I said earlier, I have Briscoe 25-1. So if you're someone who wants to try to play that game, someone who's undervalued at the moment and we could see go on a run, I'm going to call a guy out in Tyler Reddick, who is currently priced at 25-1. I think that's too long for Tyler Reddick. And, he's someone that could win Sunday. And then all of a sudden that shit drops down to 10-1. So That's the kind of game I like to play this time of year, where, even as they start chopping off the 4 drivers from the list, I like to, bet on guys. I mean, Blaney's the perfect candidate for this. Right now, he's 5-1. He finds himself in trouble all the time in the playoffs, and you can get him at a different value because they count him out, and he survives. And now you're sitting in a championship race with a longer ticket than he was previously. So I like looking at the numbers in that sense. I still think if you missed out on the Briscoe love, 14, 16-1, still worth throwing something in on. Caesars has to make the championship for both Reddick and Briscoe are like plus 330. I think that's a fun bet because they don't even have to win the race. And
what's Bubba on that?
Bubba is to make the race.
To make the race, yeah.
7-1, which I agree.
I think that's a decent bet. I like his 50-1 for the championship. I think is interesting. The schedule I think plays in his favor as well.
Yeah, with the
until Phoenix. Until Phoenix, but I love. I think I mentioned this on my pod. I can't remember, but Bubba was to make the championship for interest me 7-1. So
even if you have him 50 and he makes the championship race, I mean, there's just so many other headshot opportunities at that point, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But and like you only got to beat the 3 car. I think he'll be good enough. It's not like if SVG makes it. Like if SVG made it, he would need the other 3 cars to literally wreck out of the race to win the championship.
Yes.
Where like Bubba could like maybe be good enough to where like on a pit cycle or something he makes a move and something like that. But I don't know. That one I just thought felt really long too, the way he's been running lately. And then mentioning those tracks I just mentioned, like he's popping at those. So he could pop this week. We're always all over Reddick here, but like I thought maybe if someone picked Bubba for a wild card, I wouldn't have hated it.
Agreed. Good point. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for championship talk, I like to look at the value. I think Reddick, both 2311 guys are worth looking at. Reddick for the championship, and Bubba for a 7-1 to make Phoenix, just to make it there. Both fun bets, right? Most likely won't come home, but it gives you a little something more to root for on a week-to-week basis here as they start going through these playoffs. So
yeah, if CLV pays your bills, you take that Bubba 50-1, and then he
100%
advances to the rounds. Yeah, there you go.
It's a fun conversation.
That's like the back-to-back years of Ryan Blaney being 30-1, 22-1 at Martinsville, as Phil alluded to, and then going into Phoenix with that ticket, which I've luckily had. Same thing with Joey Logano when they get to the round of 8 at Vegas. He was 12-1 last year. That's something I talked about. I believe it was around the same price back-to-back years, where that's when I like to bet. People ask me, like, beginning of the year, oh, when are you betting on the champ? Like, oh, 10 races in, do you bet a champion? No. At least me personally, I wait until now, like until the playoffs, until a Reddick situation, a Bubba situation, or a Blaney or a Logano late in the rounds, like we've talked about. So, I appreciate us talking championship. If anyone's got any more takes in the chat, let me know. I shouted the chat out. Appreciate the chat and everyone in there for being here tonight. And for my closing statements, you guys can follow me at Tino, PATTIGNO on social media. Got a little time in my schedule this week to get some good content out, which I'm hoping to do. And along with that, I'll be back on Nuke the House on Sunday before the race. So tune into that. That'll be really cool to be back to back, especially talking some playoffs. So that to be Tino, of course, on Fridays. So looking forward to talking some playoff action. Really excited for these playoffs and the races that's going to come in these next 10 weeks with you guys.
Awesome. Phil, where can everyone find your work?
Yeah, no, just really appreciate everyone. As always, another fun time. The season dwindling down here with 10 races left, so we're running out of this fun for this year. But Full Tank with Phil is my podcast. Give it a listen. A little bit more of an interesting one this week as I kind of work through some of the thought process on the pod. So, let me know what you think of that. And give me a follow at Full Tank Phil, Instagram for the race day cards, and X as well, Talking Shop. Really appreciate it. And I mean, this weekend, man, Labor Day weekend, I hope everyone has a great holiday weekend. And I'm a pig in shit because we have obviously this on Sunday, but college football week 1 officially back. Like things are just cooking now for the degenerate gamblers among us. And
start to get that little at least around here, that little fall, fallish
Yes.
type
Mhm.
crisp in the air at
Crisp.
night.
Yes.
We got our family fantasy football draft Friday night.
Yep.
Like you said,
Nice.
Saturdays kicking off college football. I mean, what a weekend! What a nice 3-day weekend.
I'm tailgating the Phillies. The Phillies play at 6 on Saturday night, right? So I'm tailgating the Phillies. I bought myself just for this weekend. I bought myself a portable generator so I can run the television at the tailgate
Oh
to
yeah,
watch college football, in the afternoon. I'm just like so fired up. So take the under in the Notre Dame Miami game and have yourself a good weekend.
awesome. All right. If you liked everything you heard, check out wintherace.info for all the stats. You want to geek out on anything. If you're playing DFS, betting, doing anything, wintherace.info. Check us out. Appreciate everyone listening, everyone in the chat. Good luck this weekend and enjoy Darlington.